right. So you guys were handed back your quiz over 7-1 to 7-3. That was all the stuff before spring break. You can keep those. I would keep those because we have only added 7-4 and 7-5 to chapter 7, and that's it. We're done with chapter 7. I'm done teaching chapter 7. Now we are going to work on reviewing. Today we're going to review sections 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we don't need to do 5 because you guys just did 5 last night. It seemed like you guys did pretty good on section 5, solving. Any questions from last night's homework? You guys did pretty good. You're getting better at solving those? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to review sections 1 through 4. And we do have homework tonight. Miss Burns is doing some different things. And I'm going to tell you guys, I've taught this class for a long time. And this is a hard test. And I don't give homework just to give you guys something to do. I give you guys homework because I know you need to practice this stuff. Okay? So that's why you have homework. All right? So please just note that she's veered off from me a little bit this chapter. So, passing the blue papers. Here's guided notes. I have guided notes for you today. Well, I always do 33. This is not practice test. This is notes. Okay, the paper I just handed out to you is actually your guided notes. I did guided notes so that you didn't have to waste time writing them down to maybe go a little bit faster. Okay, guys, I need that other blue sheet. All right. So, some of this was a really long time ago, and some of this, I will also say on the quiz, some of you struggled with. So, tell whether X and Y show direct variation, inverse variation, or neither. So, let's kind of review this real quick. What is the equation for direct variation? Y equals AX. What's the equation for inverse variation? Y equals A over X. Okay, so when you are looking at an equation, you must solve these for what? And that's what some of you did not do on your quiz. Okay. I was asked to not have a no-stick Friday, so since I'm giving you homework, I'm trying really hard to not use the sticks. Okay, it's hard, Jill. All right, so what are we going to do, guys, on this one to solve for Y? Multiply by X, and when we do, we get what? Okay, so what are you guys going to tell me? This one is what? Direct. Perfect. Okay. What about this one? Is this one solved for Y? Okay, is it direct? Is it inverse? Or is it neither? Good, I heard a lot of neithers. Why is it neither? What is it the problem with this equation? It's that plus 3 or minus 3. You cannot have plus or minus any number. That makes it not direct or not inverse. So now let's look at this last one again. Solve for Y. So you want to make these say Y equals so you can look at the equation. What are you guys going to do here? Divide by X. What do you get? 15 over X. So what's this one? Inverse. Yep, inverse. Perfect. Okay, so are you good with looking at the equation? That was the first one on your quiz, maybe, and second one on your quiz. Number 2, solve it for Y. Does it fit the form Y equals AX, or does it fit the form Y equals A over X? Okay? Now, the next part is looking at a table of values. Well, remember, in order to solve this for A, what would you guys do? Divide by X. So if it is, let me go back up. If it is direct, you have a constant ratio Y divided by X. How do you solve this one for A? Multiply by X. So if you have a constant product, it is an inverse. All right, it's an inverse. So I really think it helps when you get your test, write the direct equation, write the inverse equation, solve them both for A. So you have them there to look at. Okay? So now when I come to this, because some of you did the math perfect, you found A, or you found the ratio or the product perfectly on these, but then you answered it incorrectly. Okay, so do you guys want to find a ratio or a product here? Ratio. Now, when you find the ratio, because it will make a difference in what A is, are you going to divide y by x or x by y? So what is 30 divided by 2.5? 12. What is 48 divided by 4? What is 90 divided by 7.5? What is 108 divided by 9? So A is equal to 12. Now it had a constant ratio, so that means it is direct or inverse? Direct. Okay, that's where people would say, oh, it's an inverse. I'm like, no, it's direct. Okay, you can think about this. Y over x equals 12. So y equals 12x if you solve it back for y. Okay, solve it back for y. It's direct. All right, so you could maybe look at some division and say, yeah, that's not going to work. So what do you guys want to do here? Multiply. So what do you get when you multiply x times y? 20. I should hear calculators going, or sticks. What do you guys get when you multiply 3 times 9.6? 28.8. Okay. Uh-oh. Yeah. Try one more. What about here? What do you get here? 9.6. 6 times 1.6? 9.6. Okay, so I'm going to stop. Is it inverse? Now, well, let's just double check y by x. What do you guys get when you divide 8 by 2.5? 3 point what? 2. I thought you said 0. What do you get when you divide 9.6 by 3? 3.2. Okay, what do you get when you divide 1.6 by 6? 0.26 repeating. And this is 6/10. All right, so what are you guys going to tell me? Neither. Very good. All right, questions on inverse and direct so far? All right, then example 2. The variables x and y vary inversely. Use the given values to write an equation relating x and y. Guys, I told you this. Write an equation relating x and y. Then find y when x is 3. Okay, so it says y varies inversely with x. So what's my formula? Y equals a over x. All right, well, it tells you x and y. So what are you guys going to plug in for y? -3. What are you going to plug in for x? 4. And now what are you going to do to solve this? Multiply by what? 4. And what do you get for a? -12. Now, what's my equation relating x and y? My equation relating x and y is y equals what? That's what I was looking for on, problem was this one, 3. Problem number 3. It says, what's the equation relating x and y? Now, find y when x is 3. So now you're going to do what? Plug in 3. What do you guys get for y? -4. Okay, you guys do the second one. Go. You have a question?
Yeah, for the test, what can we use a calculator?
Let me double check the answer to that question. I have it back yet? That is a great question. You are allowed to use your calculator on the entire test.
Good question.
Yep, whole test. Bless you.
Question.
Okay. I'm curious, do you guys use your planners? Honest, no? How do you keep track of what your homework is?
It's just a
Where? Oh, Schoology? Just remember it? So you use your Schoology calendar?
Yes, this is the only class where you really have homework in.
Like consistent.
Consistently. I'm just curious. All right. How about B? So everybody, again, the general formula is y equals what? What'd you put in for y? And what'd you put in for x? -10. Okay, so what do we do to solve this for A? Multiply by what? When you multiply by -10, what did you get for A? +2. So what's your formula? What's the equation relating x and y? Y equals 2 over x. So now what do you get when you plug in 3? You just get y equals what? 2/3. We're done. All right, so some of you missed that on the quiz. Are you good there? All right, that was section 1. Are you guys good with section 1? Okay. Are you glad we reviewed that, though? A little bit? Okay. Section 2. Section 2. Graph the function, find the domain, and the range. Okay? I will also be very picky about where the asymptotes are, so you have to make sure you know where those are. So let's take a look at A. Okay? I can look at A and I can clearly see which way this is shifting. Which way is A shifting? Right 4 and what? Down 2. So what can you guys tell me about my asymptotes? Well, normally on the parent function, they're right at the x-axis and right at the y-axis. But the one at the y-axis went which way? Right 4. And the one at the x-axis went which way? Down 2. Now you could make a table of values, or you could plug it into your graphing calculator. As somebody asked, are we allowed to use our graphing calculator on the whole test? And the answer to that is yes. So I'm going to put in 9 divided by, make sure you have x minus 4 in parentheses, then minus 2. I'm going to look at my table, and I know that my vertical asymptote would be at x equals 4, so it happened to be right where my table value is at. If not, go scroll until you get a couple of x values to the left of your asymptote, a couple of x values to the right of your asymptote, and now I'm just going to graph. Over 1, down 5, over 2, down 6.5, over 3, down 11. Now, remember, and this is where I'm always saying asymptote to asymptote, this graph goes from this asymptote up here through those points and then down to that asymptote. It does not have an asymptote at -4, so be careful. Then the right side of my graph, I'm going to go over 5, up 7, over 6, up 2.5, over 7, up 1. Now again, this right side in particular, the asymptote is not at the x-axis. So make sure you go asymptote through the point to the asymptote. Domain and range. Domain is all the which values, guys. What is x not allowed to be? 4. So x is everything except 4. We know that for 2 reasons. 1, it's my vertical asymptote. 2, it's what makes the denominator 0. Okay? Range. What is the range? That's the y values. What is y not allowed to be? Or what will it never be? -2, because that's my horizontal asymptote. So let's see if I did everything. Graph the function, find the domain and range. Are we good on A? All right, on this one, I will probably also have you tell me the vertical and horizontal asymptotes. Okay, so let's start with that. You guys are pretty good at the vertical asymptote. How do I know what the vertical asymptote is? Because you can't tell me which way this is shifting. God bless you. How do you know where the vertical asymptote is? Anybody remember? Where the denominator is 0. So we're going to set 2x plus 8 equal to 0. How do you solve this? Subtract 8. And then what? Divide by 2. So it will be where x is what? So that means x is -4. There's my vertical asymptote. How about the horizontal asymptote? The quiz, I had some people totally forget how to do this. Horizontal asymptote, by the way, crosses which axis? Crosses y, so it's always y equals. Crossing the y-axis, so it's y equals. How do we figure this out?
I see what you meant. 1 over 2.
Why is it 1 over 2?
What's in front of x, the ratio?
Good. It's leading coefficient divided by leading coefficient. So in this case, it's 1 over 2. Guys, I will make it so that your calculator will not tell you. Okay, so it might look like 1, it might look like 2. If you don't know how to do that math, you're not going to get it on your graphing calculator. Okay, so y equals 1/2. You've got to draw those in there. I have to see that you know exactly where those are. So I could come down and answer domain and range right now before I even graph. What's x not allowed to be? -4. What's y not allowed to be? 1/2. Now I had people using not equals to in my asymptotes. Because that's the equation of a vertical line. X is equal to -4. The equation of that horizontal line. Y equals 1/2. Now I'm going to go back to my calculator. When I put this in my calculator, make sure you put parentheses around your numerator, x minus 3. And again, parentheses around your denominator, 2x plus 8. Graph it. Should look kind of like what we think it is. Can't quite tell where that horizontal asymptote is, but you can see that it's coming above the x-axis. Table. Now, I can't see my asymptote, so I'm going to go back till I can see it a little bit. Get a couple above, a couple below. Okay, and now I can graph it. So I can see at -7, I had 1.6. At -6, I had 2.25. And at -5, I had 4. And then at -3, I had -3. At -2, I had -1.25. And at -1, I had -2/3. Again, this piece does go above that x-axis. So those were the first 2 ways we graphed. Are you guys good on A and B? That was section 2. All right, then section 3. Find the product. Now, remember when you have the product and it's all monomials. Monomial, 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 monomial. One term. It's not a binomial, not a trinomial, so we're not going to factor. The way I think that you guys like to do this year when I taught both of my classes, you guys like to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. When you guys multiplied across the top, you had 28. How many x's? X to the 4, and then y to the what? 10. What do you do when you multiply powers? You add the exponents. denominator, what number did I have? 2. And then how many x's? 5. And how many y's? Is everybody good so far? Now, 28 divided by 2. Before I cancel, and I will have a lines on the test so you remember where I need to see the excluded values. What's not allowed to be what? What's undefined? X and Y, what are they not allowed to be? So X is not allowed to be 0 and Y is not allowed to be. X and Y are both not allowed to be 0. X is not allowed to be 0 and Y is not allowed to be 0. Okay, are we good with our excluded values? Now cancel. What's 28 divided by 2? 14. Now, guys, you could do x to the 4th over x to the 5th. When you subtract, you get x to the what? -1. So where's it going to go? On the bottom. Or sometimes I just, in my mind, I think I have 4 on the top, 5 on the bottom. How many of them cancel? 4. What am I left with? 1 on the bottom. Okay. How about the y's? What is 10 minus 7? And that's left on the top. There's your answer. All right. Questions on A. Now, after we've been doing all this other stuff, I come back to the multiplication and you kind of go, all right, multiply. Are you really going to multiply these? No. What are you going to do? Factor and cancel. Now, you are all still having trouble factoring the numerator of the left side. Some of you are. On that quiz, there was one just like this. It was x plus or minus 6x. I can't remember. What do you do? What's my first rule of factoring? GCF. What's my GCF? Take out an x. What's left? X. It's still minus. Okay, can't do anything with the denominator. Over here, can't do anything with the denominator. But can I do anything with the numerator? Yeah, it's a trinomial. A is 1. Life is easy. What question do you ask yourself? Multiplies to 3. Adds to 4. What is it? 3 and 1. What cancels? X plus 3 and x. What's left? Oh, before I canceled, what was x not allowed to be? -3 and 0. What's left where? X minus 5 and an x plus 1, both in the numerator. Guys, are you allowed to cancel if they were both in the numerator or both in the denominator? Are you allowed to cancel them? No. It has to be 1 in the numerator, 1 in the denominator, because it's just 1. That goes away, right? Anything divided by itself is 1. All right. What's this over right now? Anything over 1? What do we do when we divide? Keep, change, flip. So hard, Jill. Keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction. Change the division to multiplication. Flip the second fraction. Now, when I multiply, I really what? Factor. Numerator. A is 1. Life is easy. What multiplies to give you -14? Adds to give you 5. +7 and -2. What multiplies to give you 4? Adds to give you -4. -2. Now, before you guys cancel things, I want to talk. We need to talk. What is x not allowed to be? Okay, well, look at your denominators. We need to look here. Oh, I hate that color. We need to look here and here. So what's x not allowed to be in those denominators? -3 and 2. And then remember, in the original problem, I flipped that denominator, so I do need to look at that denominator. What would that, do I need to worry about it though?
No.
No. So now coming back down, my board's frozen back there. What do you guys get? What cancels? X minus 2. What else? Anything else? No. So what do we have left in the numerator? X plus 7. What's left in the denominator? X plus 3 and you can stop. You can leave your answers in factored form. You can leave your answers in factored form. Are we good there? All right, next one. Find the sum or the difference. The sum. Oh, I do have one like a sample 6. The sum or the difference. All right, what do we have to add or subtract? We have to have what? Common denominators. Okay, so let's factor this denominator. What multiplies to give you negative 24 that adds to give you negative 5? Negative 8 and positive 3. So what's this fraction missing? X plus 3. So whatever I give to the bottom, I have to give to the... Now guys, your denominators do not cancel. It is not an equation. So see, once we learn that, you're like no, you can't just cancel your denominators. What do you do when you add like denominators? You just add your what? Numerators, put it over the common denominator. So when you do, what do you have in the numerator? Well, I have 7 plus 3x plus. So what do you really have? 3x plus 16 all over your common denominator. Now, I'm going to do a quick check. Can I factor the numerator anymore to reduce my answer? Does anything factor out of the numerator? So I'm done. What is x not allowed to be? 8 or? Okay. Factor this. Multiplies to give you negative 16, adds to give you negative 6. Minus 8 and plus 2. So what's this one missing? Oh, no. We gotta be careful. Because, guys, it is this minus this. All right, here's some size. So let's work on our numerator first. I have x squared minus 3 minus, and then what am I going to have to make sure I do with this right side? After I put the FOIL in, I have to FOIL and put it in what? Parentheses, and then distribute the negative. So when you FOIL x plus 5x minus 8, what do you guys get? X squared minus 3x minus 40. Now what do we do? Distribute. So we get x squared minus 3 minus x squared plus 3x plus 40. What happens to the x squareds? The x squareds cancel, so I'm left with just what? 3x plus over my common denominator. Because remember, add your numerators, put it over your common denominator. Common denominator, x minus 8, x plus 2. Is anything going to cancel? What's x not allowed to be? Done. Okay, questions on that one? All right, last one. I wondered if I was going to do one of these. I'm like, I must not have one of those on there, but there it is. Rewrite it. There is one like this on your quiz. Some of you, a couple of you, a handful of you in all of my classes left this completely blank. Okay. What does it mean when I have 5x plus 3 over x plus 4? It means 5x plus 3 divided by. So I'm going to take 5x plus 3 and I'm going to divide it by what? X plus 4. Now, what do you multiply x by to get to 5x? Now distribute. What do you get? 5x plus 20. Now, some of you had a remainder of 23. The remainder is not 23 because what do you have to come in and do? Subtract. And what's my remainder? Now, some of you had this part all messed up. Please, if I asked you what's the answer to this question, you would tell me what? 5 plus negative 17 over. I'll let you write it that way because now we're going to take it in what? Flip it. You're going to tell me, was it f of x or g of x? G of x. Okay, so you're going to tell me g of x is equal to negative 17 over x plus 4 plus 5. And now, how is this shifting? Talk to me about what's happening. What's the negative doing? Reflect over x. The 17 is just going to make a pull away from the axes. I'm not worried about that as much. What's the plus 4? Left 4 and what? Up 5. So my asymptotes went left 4 and up 5. Left 4, up 5. Now when you put it in your calculator, it does not matter which one you use. If you use this one, put it in parentheses. If you use the other one, put your numerator in parentheses and the denominator in parentheses. In either case, I should get the exact same graph. Now it's just, you're just getting a snippet in that corner because it got shifted so much. And then I can go table. I'm going to have my table and then graph. Are you guys good there? Questions?
For that one, do you want us to do the points still? Even though it's pretty big.
That's why I didn't graph it. I won't be so mean on the test. So I'll have nicer numbers. All right. Good job today, guys. I think that, do you guys think that helps?
Yes.
Good.
Copy that one.